20% of extra value that I've added into the contact center just by bringing these agentic agents in. Every year through the partner ecosystem, we spend about 40-50% less now than what we did 2 years ago. That's because we've got more internal knowledge. Last year, we got back around 11 times ROI on our campaigns.
Hello everyone, today I'm with Robert Lopez and we will talk about Salesforce. Hello Robert, how are you today?
Arthur, I'm fantastic. I'm excited to be here with you and talk all things Salesforce.
Yeah, I feel it's amazing to see how we progress together and how we improve from the first time we met and the first project that we had. Step by step, I can feel like today we are in a real studio with recording a podcast. Isn't it amazing?
It's brilliant to look where we are now and the learnings along the way. Come on, we are far more advanced now than we were.
So as a first real guest of the podcast, I was thinking about you because I feel you have always been happy to help and interested in the project of other people, to contribute in a way. So I'm really happy that we can do this first episode of the podcast with you. And I guess for those who don't know who you are, could you introduce yourself at this stage? What do you do?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm the Chief Marketing Innovation Officer at North's Collective. We're a dynamic profit for purpose hospitality group. I've been there for 13 years now, just on 13 years. I had a full head of hair when I started at North's Collective. And really in my role, I drive brand, I drive marketing, but I drive our digital transformation journey and vision, which is underpinned by Salesforce. And we sort of kicked off our journey back in 2019. Started our build out, turned the lights on to our Salesforce system in 2020 August, and have been building on it ever since. And it has been a journey and a half with lots and lots of learnings along the way.
I understand. And because I've been visiting you at North Collective, one of the venue, the main one.
North in Canberra, the main venue.
And it was great to see how you merge real life experience, being in the real with the digital aspect of it. Maybe the first question that I have for you is, when did you hear about Salesforce for the first time? And was it before North Collective or once you started over there 12 years ago?
So it's got 13 almost. And I first heard of Salesforce when my CEO came into the office and said, I've just been overseas at a conference in San Francisco called Dreamforce, and I want you to have a look into this system because I'm thinking maybe it's sort of the next step forward. And that was in January 2018. So that was about 6 years into myself starting with the company. And I remember going away and thinking, Salesforce, is it 2 words? Is it 1 word? How do I search for this thing? I found it pretty quickly through Google and did some research, and then, started understanding the product, the ecosystem, and also the values. I think for me, with the company that we are, being a profit for purpose business, so we give back to the community. We're owned by our members. We're a membership-based organization, and we give back about $1.8 million a year in community support to those who need it. And, our core values sit true with us, and we always make sure that whoever we partner with also holds, strong values. And that was the first thing that stood out with Salesforce for me, was their sort of core values: trust, customer success, innovation. And so from the word go, I sort of found an alignment between our visions, but between, our core values as well. So 2018 was my first exposure to Salesforce, and my God, has it gotten crazy since then.
And so you started with which product, or what was the first piece of technology that you added from Salesforce to North Collective? Do you remember that?
I do, very vividly. We started with Service Cloud. It acted as our CRM. So we brought all of our disparate systems into one single source of truth to get a unified profile of our members. Marketing Cloud, which was plugged in directly to Service Cloud to allow us to sort of create these hyper-personalized omni-channel marketing journeys. And CRM analytics was also part of that initial scope.
that is Tableau now that you have
yes,
switched.
we've now moved to Tableau. So we've now got Heroku because we've built out our custom app. In years 3 and 4, we built out an app.
Yeah.
So it's built on Heroku.
Yeah.
Which has been a fantastic addition to our tech stack.
Yeah.
And now moving CRMA over to Tableau. Which is a fantastic product.
Yeah. So do you feel like so you are using Tableau now? Right?
Yeah. So we're using it in testing phase, and we go live next month in a couple of weeks across the business.
That's very impressive. So now like you are really like a multi-cloud customer like of Salesforce. Like you have implemented like a range of different products. Were you expecting at first that you will like deep dive into Salesforce that much, or you were thinking, okay, we have Service Cloud and we potentially stay with Service Cloud, but we will add like other provider like for the marketing software and all of that? Or you already knew that you will, with the time, like be interested to be to expand like the Salesforce ecosystem?
I think for us, and it probably goes back to the very beginning of our journey.
Yeah,
we've always had 3 key objectives.
Okay.
The first, to get a single view of our members.
Yeah.
The second, to get smarter with our data to help us make better business decisions using our grounded and rich customer data.
Yeah.
And the third one is to be able to create more personalized, engaging, hyper-personalized omni-channel marketing journeys.
Yeah.
With those 3 always from the beginning, we knew Service Cloud, CRM Analytics, and Marketing Cloud were going to be the foundation of our tech stack. Did I know that we would be moving down the track and looking at Heroku and building out this awesome, native customer app and member app and looking at moving to a Tableau? No.
Yeah.
This is, I guess, the evolution of our journey.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's a journey. We learn along the way, and there's a lot of learnings. And I think for us, as we grew along the way, our tech stack needed to grow with us.
Yeah.
And that's been great. We've been able to expand and scale with Salesforce.
And it must be interesting because I believe there is people that owns North Collective, and I'm wondering, did they knew that Salesforce will impact positively that much their business, or like what was the feeling when they heard for the first time we will become like a proper technology company? Because it's not so usual when we are a traditional venue. We could run a venue without implementing like technology, but obviously it's a benefit if we do. What was the feeling and the perception when you came and say and propose all this technology platform to enhance the business? Yeah,
I remember. I worked hard with the CEO to really build a strong business case.
Yeah.
For the board of directors.
Okay.
And they were taken on the journey with us. I think with any digital transformation journey, you've got to take all your key stakeholders on the journey with you. And so we made sure that everything we were doing, we grounded, with a good business case behind it. There was unknowns. This was new for me. This was new for the company. It was something, as you said, the hospitality industry historically hasn't really been great at, is innovation and adapting new technologies. It's not really known in hospitality. Yeah. So we said from the beginning, the CEO and I sort of sat down and said, well, we want to be a leader in this space. If we're going to go in, we're going to go in hard. And we want to make sure that we're not just doing something for the sake of doing it. Yeah. We're doing it with our members and our community at the core of everything, and we're going to do it with purpose.
Okay.
And so when we spoke with our board of directors and we went through, these are the products we're going to bring in, these are the outcomes and the benefits we're going to be looking to achieve. Yeah. We did it with conviction. We did it with the understanding that we were going to drive value out of the system. And, you don't get value straight away. Yeah. You don't turn the lights on and all of a sudden you see ROI flooding through the door. Yeah. For me, the ROI of the system has been a bit of a personal journey. Yeah. And only really 2024 could I start attributing ROI directly. We'd been looking at it, but it was hard. It's always hard, especially in the marketing world. Yeah. And you can appreciate it. It's hard to attribute ROI back. Yeah. But, last year we got back around 11 times ROI on our campaigns.
Oh, okay.
Which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
If you think 3 times to 4 times is great, well, 11 times is exceptional.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden we knew that, for every dollar we were spending from a MarTech stack perspective, we were getting $11 back. Yeah. And it took time to get to that point. And that only helps build trust and confidence from the board of directors back to us. So it has been a journey, but fortunately our board of directors have been very supportive as a CEO since the beginning of the journey.
Yeah, I understand. And from like the customer side, like, do you know how people reacted or adopted like this new like customer facing interaction? Was it something that people like the member of North enjoyed? Like, have you heard good feedback, for example, or what can you tell us on how like the marketing action implemented helps the end user, the member? And have you and opposite to that, did you add some friction with some other customer that probably didn't like to be reached out like via marketing confirmation or like email?
Yeah, look, there's two sides to every story, isn't there? We'll start with the positives.
Okay, yeah.
I guess when we look at it, we're now, that third objective that I mentioned, hyper-personalized omni-channel marketing journeys, has been extremely successful. We've gone from, I'm going to think, 24% open rates to over 60% open rates on our emails. Our click-through rates have gone from 1.4% to 11.9% open rates, click-through rates, which is exceptional, unheard of, really. And that's purely because of the fact that we're using the tools and the power of our grounded data, rich data in Marketing Cloud for our members to drive hyper-personalization. So that's that aspect of it. From our app perspective, we have around 74,000 members in total,
which is very good.
Which is strong members. In app, we've got around 11,000 members actively using the app. Now, people say, 11,000 out of 74,000, is that good? It's actually great. To be honest, we segment that group of members to understand if the app and the tools that we've built into it, like spinning wheels that can win points to spend in venue, has that changed habit? And it has. Everybody using the app is far more engaged with our businesses in person than members who are not engaged with the app. So the app's worked hard at getting that engagement transferred from the digital landscape to the physical real world. And so recently we've been using QR code campaigns. We started in 2024. And this is where the friction point comes in. These campaigns are delivering excellent ROI. As I mentioned before, 11 times ROI in some cases. And where we've seen friction is we're, a group of clubs. And the average age of our members is older. 50s, early 60s. And so when you get to an older demographic, they don't love moving to technology that drastically. We send them a communication. They have to have an action of clicking a button, filling in a few details, and they receive a QR code to scan in venue. And we've had some friction along the way, but it's only been helpful for us to use that feedback to change the way we do things. We change the comms piece a little bit. We change the way the QR code is sent back to them now. And so because of doing that, we've managed to really reduce the friction points and, even just grow that ROI piece.
Wow, that's, you exactly answered my question, because I was thinking like North Collective, as it's a club, like you must have a large panel of customer. And I was wondering like how like the older generation will adopt using technology in general. But I guess it's a very interesting challenge, because it means that you really need to keep everything as simple as possible to improve like usability for like older generation and keep it extremely user friendly. So I guess that must be very interesting. And another question that came in my mind was, so you implemented like a range of feature, a range of Salesforce products. What's the process behind that? Is it hard, easy to find resources in Australia? When you started, your vision must be probably different from now on how to deal with implementation of feature and product. Could you tell us like how did you started and how this process evolved with time?
Yeah, definitely. So the vision does change, but one thing I will say is right from the beginning, I developed our digital transformation vision statement. And that statement hasn't changed.
What's the statement?
I will recite it to you now, hopefully correctly. And that is to be a true leader in digital transformation, using new, emerging and sustainable technologies as a means to build our brand, tell our story and enrich relationships within our communities.
Okay.
And that's been with us since the beginning. So our vision hasn't changed, but I guess our mindset has changed along the way. You know, when I think back to the very beginning, and I was very green in this space, you know, we turned the lights on. And if we look at it from an analytics perspective, we had all these data sources finally connected. But I didn't take the step back to say, well, what, I guess, fields or columns of data are relevant to what we need.
Okay,
I just said, bring it all in.
Oh, yeah.
And what are we left with today? A whole lot of data. That a lot of it doesn't make sense. So positively now we move to Tableau again, the next iteration of our analytics journey. We're moving to Tableau, and as we build out Tableau, we use our learnings and we use our partners' knowledge to help us ensure that we're bringing in valuable, relevant data, not rubbish data that's just going to take up space. You know, we've also brought in Snowflake as part of this journey as well, which is helping us in that analytics space. And I guess your partners play a huge role in this. You know, we've had our core key partners across Marketing Cloud, Service Cloud, Heroku, our app building partners as well through the Heroku ecosystem, and obviously now through Tableau, our Tableau partners. And, you know, we rely on them. And I think, you know, any company going on any digital transformation journey has to partner up effectively.
Okay, I understand.
You've got to choose a partner who aligns with your values, but who knows your why. Who understands why your company exists, what your company does, what your company stands for, and who you are really as an organization. And when your values and your understandings and your whys align, you get the most out of that relationship.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess, so you are dealing with multiple partner based on how experts they are for each cloud. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. So we've got expertise across the clouds. We've got our sort of core partner who manages our integrations and our core, you know, service cloud platform. We've got our marketing cloud partner that falls into the same partner ecosystem, but a different team. And primarily across New Zealand and Australia. And then we've got our app partner through the Heroku, and then we've got our Tableau partner. So there's specialization across the clouds.
Yeah, that's very impressive. I guess it's like orchestra, you know, like when
like an orchestra. It's pretty much true. I'm the conductor, but I've dropped the sticks a few times.
It's really a good illustration, I guess, when we think about it. But and you also have a lot of people, maybe not a lot, but some people that are working internally for North Collective to drive this kind of innovation, like the bus of innovation with all the different cloud. Like, do you find it hard to find people that have expertise in Salesforce, but that are also sharing your value in terms of business? And also, maybe as a second question, how do people internally upskill? Is it with dealing with the partner that they can take on board some knowledge, or do you have a vision on that, on upskilling internally with Salesforce technology?
100%.
Really?
And I think that's the key because, you know, there's myself and I've got two really key team members. I've got a platform and analytics lead, and I've got a digital and CRM specialist. And the digital and CRM specialist lives and breathes Marketing Cloud. That's her baby. That's her space. My other team member is core analytics integrations. Now, in terms of both of those roles, they didn't exist when we turned the lights on. It was me, myself, and I, and my wider marketing team using the products. I found early on that we weren't going to be getting the ROI that I wanted from the platform because the marketing team members, they already had a busy calendar. For me to expect them to use Marketing Cloud, which is like a Ferrari, for me to expect them to drive a Ferrari with, you know, they're used to driving a Toyota Yaris maybe. It was very, I guess, unreachable to do that on top of all the normal workload. So I thought I'm going to create a centralized role internally, someone with expertise who can drive value and ROI out of the platform. And that's that role there. And the other role is super critical because that team member works closely with our partner to help build out our integrations, which everything relies on. When I think about my vision for those roles, I've always wanted to see a bit of an inverse graph where over time our partner costs reduce because, you know, we don't rely on them as much, but our internal business knowledge increases.
Oh, yeah, understand. Yep.
So my team members, through certifications, through training, through attending, networking sessions, through attending Salesforce-led discussions and webinars, but also through knowledge sharing with our partners, documentation. Document everything, people. Document it all. Trust me, through good documentation, they can upskill and build their knowledge. So where we are now in terms of, our outlay every year through the partner ecosystem, we spend about 40-50% less now than what we did 2 years ago. That's because we've got more internal knowledge and we're able to do more ourselves.
And something that I've always noticed about you is that you do actually a lot of Salesforce events, but you also come with your team. And this, I always felt like they are very lucky actually to attend all these events, because it's not every company that is doing that. And I guess it's one of element to make people interested in what they are working with. Like the Salesforce event, the ecosystem, is incredible. And like the fact that you invite your team to see this world and this part of the ecosystem, I guess it's a real value added. It contributes a lot to happiness, actually.
It does. And job satisfaction is critical. I am grateful for my team and I understand the true value of my team members, and I need to make sure they are always engaged. I think a good leader should always be inclusive and involve their team. And something like Salesforce, where there is so much activity, so many opportunities to connect and network and collaborate, as a leader, you'd be silly not to get your team involved. So I'm a big believer in ensuring that my team are always part of this journey. And they do appreciate that. I was fortunate enough to head over to Dreamforce in 2023 and take, one of my team members with me. And that was a great experience, both personally and professionally, really. I can remember most of it, which is good. But, what a great experience to share it with a team member and be able to come back and have those memories, but also those learnings and bring back a lot of global connections that you make. And that, helps them into their future too, because I know not everyone's going to be in the same job for 40 years and work together all that time. They're going to grow and progress as we all do. So we've got to make sure that, I always say when you leave your company, you should leave the company more enriched for the time you were there, but you should leave more enriched and a better person for it as well.
I totally agree. And something that I've realized is that it's very important to keep expanding your network of connection with other people. It's almost 50% of your job, basically. It's because it can be an effort for some people to keep the connection with other people, but at the end of the day, it's so key, I guess, in a technology ecosystem we are part of. That I guess being at this event is quite a key aspect of it. And talking about events, we saw a lot that Salesforce is promoting their new product called Agentforce.
Yes, they are. And if you've missed it, where have you been?
From your point of view, where are you in this journey? Do you like the product? What do you think will be the benefits for North Collective in the near and long-term future?
As we record this, we're about 7 days away from launching the product. So we are what you would probably call an early adopter in this space. There's only a handful of us in Australia, in APAC really, that are bringing the product on. We're phasing it. So our phase 1 is a service agent. And it's going to be across web. So we've got a lot of brands across our company, total of 8 brands plus a corporate website. So we're going to have it across our web. We're going to have it in-app. We're going to have it across socials. So Facebook and Instagram. And our first phase, our sort of turning the lights on for our first agent, is going to be really knowledge-based. So we've got 60 knowledge articles we've produced in the back end of Service Cloud, and it's drawing from that to help deliver more valuable and meaningful experiences for those in our community on our digital channels. Now, it's twofold. Number one, it's a better experience for the customer. But number two, there's an efficiency play. We've got a call center, a contact center, and they historically have been very reactive. So they get a phone call, they take the call, and they have a conversation. We looked at the data and we said, okay, about 20% of the phone calls that are coming in are general inquiries.
Okay.
What time does this venue open? How much is membership? When does my membership expire? All this sort of stuff. So we thought if we could take those 20% of calls away, or a good portion of them, and respond to those inquiries through our digital channels, because a lot of people just want to use a digital channel. They don't need to necessarily call. It'll free up the phone lines and allow the call center, I guess, to make more meaningful and I guess high value phone calls and spend more time on the phone with someone who maybe is looking at a $50,000 corporate function at one of our venues. So from an efficiency play, phase one is really about supporting the call center by taking those low hanging fruit, general inquiries away and giving them the chance to really drive more value and revenue through them. Phase two, which we're going to kick off sort of back end of February, is going to be focused more on using the rich Salesforce data to give the end user, the customer, more, I guess, opportunity to engage digitally. And what I mean by that is if someone goes on our website and says, I have a restaurant reservation this Friday, I want to move it to next Thursday. We want the agent to do that. We want the agent to find their record securely. So we've got to work through that piece because data privacy and security and data masking is critical with this. Critical. And so, look them up, find the record, find the reservation, make the change, reply with a confirmation and send them a new email with their new reservation time. That's sort of the phase two approach. The Marketing Cloud agent, which Salesforce talk a bit about now, and I think it's more of a second half of the year piece in Australia, is going to be an interesting one as well. How does that use our data to drive more marketing and upselling opportunities through our website? It
seems like Salesforce is doing a big push first on like the service agent because like it's more like common, like it seems more common sense and easy to get started with that. And mostly like the knowledge article seems to be like a real good starting point where people can rely on this functionality. I've seen like you can also upload some PDF file directly. So without having to write directly the knowledge article in Salesforce, it could be like PDF file and the LLM like will directly take this as an input and be able to reply to the end user. So that's very interesting. And people will interact with the Agentforce through the website, app, and social. All three channels. Something that I'm very excited about Agentforce is when we will get started with like the multimodal. So like instead of only doing text through a chatbot, like using voice. Do you remember like a few months ago we had the Agentforce World Tour? Yes, I remember it like it was yesterday. So they did the demo, but it was for a retail store, like e-commerce retail, and they did the voice Agentforce. So I think the midterm future will be using other channels than just the chatbot, and this will be like the most exciting part for me, at least. It's exciting and scary at the same time. I mean, I was at the World Tour and I was looking at the demonstration, and I think it was someone rang up to change the delivery address of a product, a sweater they ordered, and it's like there was someone on the other end of the line. And it wasn't, it was AI. But I guess when we look at AI, and I was on a panel recently and I spoke to the fact that, when I look at AI and I had no choice but to look at it really with the future and what it's looking like, I think you've got to always understand where the pitfalls can lie. The three key things of hallucinations, bias, toxicity. How are you working to make sure that they're not playing a role in any of the responses that AI is giving? And, is your data grounded? Is your data, factual? Is it clean data? Is it dirty data that it's relying on? Because I guess a really good example I'll give, I've got a podcast with one of my key team members, and you're on one of the episodes with us. And we went to use generative AI to produce the album cover for Spotify so they could see a bit of a cover. And I uploaded an image of me and an image of my team member. And I said, make us into characters sitting at a podcast studio with our headphones on and make us look excited. And for 3 hours, I was having a go at this. It could not draw me, a balding man, without a beard. Oh, that's strange. It kept giving me facial hair. When I said remove the moustache, it'd give me an afro. Remove the hair, it'd give me this. And that's because it was biased. When you go to Google and type in balding men, I think I did it the other day, 70% of the men have facial hair. No, that's interesting. I think there is another drama on Google where people were writing happy couple. Google was providing like a specific type of result. But I guess this is how like the machine is fine-tuned at the end of the day, and our society is not neutral all the time. There is like for example, a company like Google will have like a political side as well, I guess, and this will impact always like the result. And maybe something that is a bit outside of Salesforce as well. What do you think about all this innovation around social media? Like for example, the X platform, like TikTok. Have you heard that they almost banned it?
Well, they banned it for 14 hours in the US, I think. So it's probably good. They got some fresh air, the Americans, and then went back in and they could go back to TikToking. Yeah, I mean, I'll admit, I love TikTok. Yeah. I'm a strong user of it. I probably scroll for a good hour a day all up. I do. It's my time to tune out. X is an interesting one. I'm on there. I noticed probably around election time in the US that my feed changed drastically. It was all very pro-Trump. Elon Musk every 2 seconds. And that's his algorithm and he's controlling it. And that's just the way it is. And I can choose to be on it or not be on it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Human choice is there. So for me, I think in the end, we're all adults. Where I think there needs to be a line drawn is with the youth of today. I think there's a lot of mental illness that comes from social media, and I think we've got to help protect the youth because they're not at a point where they've sort of lived their life. They haven't experienced what's out in the real world, and they can be influenced by what's on social media. So there's got to be more protection there. And I know Australia's looking at that. I
saw that as well, but it seems like unreal when we are talking about removing social media for people that are under 16 years old. Like I think it's very extreme in a way, like too extreme to be real, in fact. Maybe there is some alternative solution that will be way more like efficient, I guess. But I also understand that it's a real challenge. Like, how can you forbid something that is already everywhere?
That's the tricky part, because it's like anything. They're going to find a way to get to it. It's, the technology's there. There should be ways to filter, monitor, suppress content. It's there. I guess where it becomes tricky is, I guess when you go to an alcohol website, it asks for your year of birth. Anyone can type in 1956.
Exactly.
So there's that element too. But I also think the parents play a role in this. They've got to monitor and understand what their children are doing online. But I do think you're right. It's unrealistic to completely get rid of it all from under 16s. It's just not going to happen.
And to make the connection, you became a dad like not long ago.
I did. He just turned 1. He's 1 out now, which scared me. I couldn't believe he was 1. And this is the sort of stuff we've got to look at, because
that's interesting.
when he's 16, it's going to be another different world that we live in then. Who knows what social media looks like? We'll all be walking around with Google glasses and looking at everything in front of us.
That would be interesting. Do you think like by the time he's 16 years old, we will see like augmented reality coming through, or not yet?
I think so.
It's very interesting. I heard like the interview of Mark Zuckerberg and Joe Rogan. And basically Mark Zuckerberg explained that the internet will be like on top of our reality. And instead of looking at small screen like this for our internet, it will be just another layer of what we see in the world, which is like, I can imagine it. Can you imagine or visualize it?
I can picture it.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by it. I can picture it. It's almost something like from a science fiction movie. Really. But it is the future. People, knowledge is power. Everyone knows that. And I guess, over time, we've gone from having these huge, I grew up with encyclopedias when I was sort of very young on the bookcase, A to K, L to Z, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden it came on a CD-ROM or 6 CD-ROMs and you could put it into your computer and you could see where did a zebra come from and all this stuff. Then the internet comes and all of a sudden it's on the internet. And all of a sudden the internet's gone from a computer to a laptop and a laptop to a mobile phone. And what's next? It's the glasses. And what's in front of that? Just blink twice and you're going to see what you want. It's, it's going to be microchips and all this stuff. I think what the future looks like, I don't know exactly, but I do think there is going to be another layer. I know there's this metaverse and all this stuff, but there is going to be another layer somewhere.
Yeah.
How it looks, I have no idea.
Yeah, that would be very interesting, and very interesting to see how people like that work in the Salesforce ecosystem will innovate to always adapt to new generation and this new layer of technology. That would be totally different. Like
very different.
It will be not about sending like an email. Like
what are we sending? Holograms. Send a hologram in front of somebody so they can see that you've got a schnitzel special on Friday. That's what, this is the future. I still remember, I thought it was fake, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
There was towns in America where Domino's Pizza was delivering pizzas by drones.
Yeah. Is it real or like
It's
like,
real.
oh, okay. That's very
I thought
impressive.
It was fake. It's real. They're delivering pizzas by drones. Like my ancestors in Italy would be rolling in the graves knowing pizzas are going through the sky and being dropped at people's houses.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like technology, and also we saw in a military usage, I was very impressed that now they are using like commercial drones. So your small DJI drone will be used as a proper weapon to destroy tank. Have you heard about that?
Yes, I have.
This is
wow.
This I don't think would have been possible maybe 50 years ago or something. No. It's like new scenario or use case that we are seeing, but very impressive. Like in a bad way, of course.
In a bad way, but look what they can do now.
Yeah. Like a range of new questions are coming back because, for example, like a tank that will cost like $30 million to build can be destroyed by a DJI drone that costs $1,000. And like
look at that, economies of scale, which is working.
Yeah. And maybe another question that I have for you is like the job that you are doing today. When you were a kid, did you have an interest that led you to this job, or did you already knew that you will work in a specific way with technology and mostly marketing technology, which is a very niche segment at the end because it's very between the junction between digital marketing and technology?
Yeah, I guess growing up, there was two things that I loved, or three things that I loved. Stand-up comedy.
Okay.
And I did that for 3 years.
Yeah.
But something got in the way called a mortgage, which I had to pay the bills, so I couldn't do that forever. Movies.
Okay.
I loved movies. I loved Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And I was never going to be an actor. I wasn't tall enough. And computers.
Okay.
So I loved, I wasn't a video gamer, but I loved computers and technology.
Yeah.
I remember getting my first computer. It was an all-in-one. We had floppy disks back then. It was very interesting. But I loved talking and storytelling.
Yeah.
So I guess it probably, looking back, made sense that I am where I am today at the true junction in my role as the Chief Marketing and Innovation Officer, that marketing and innovation are intersected in my world. Because the storytelling side of marketing and the brand building and the sort of the customer experience side in conjunction with the technology is, I guess, where I see myself day to day. And I love it. I love what I do. I wouldn't change a thing.
No, that's true. Like I think like storytelling is like a key part of success, like in any brand. Like when we look at Apple with Steve Jobs, or like even like Starlink and Elon Musk, like it's a key component. And I feel like a lot of brands, it's too easy to forget, but like brands that are leader in their area have generally a very good storytelling. And for a venue, I think like understanding what the background of the venue and how this has been built over time, like generation over generation, it's very interesting and can be highlighted. And when you were doing stand-up comedy, I was thinking it was just a hobby, but you were making like some money from it. Like, wow.
Yeah, no, it was fun. I still do weddings.
Okay.
A couple a year usually, just to fill in the gaps and keep people laughing. But I get to make people laugh every day at work. Don't you worry. See, there you go.
No, but that's very interesting. And if you could define your type of humor, like how, like, can you?
Oh, my type of humor. Excellent. No, my type of humor. I guess I've always played on my Italian heritage.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
And so I guess I do quite a bit of ethnic comedy, but I'm very big on just playing with whoever's in the room.
Oh,
that
okay,
sounded wrong, actually. Let me rephrase that one. I don't like playing with whoever's in the room.
We will shortcut
that would
the
be
video.
Strange. No, keep it. Go for gold. Keep them entertained. No, I guess I love picking on the audience, understanding who's in front of me, and having a play with it. I remember actually once one of my first stand-up comedy gigs, I just started dating who is now my wife. This is many moons ago. She's Australian. I'm Italian background. And so I asked the audience, anybody in a multicultural relationship? And this couple put their hand up. And I said, oh, where are you from? And he goes, I'm Greek and my wife's Australian. And I said, a Greek and an Australian. Imagine the kids that come out of this relationship. Half of them want to own a fish and chip shop. The other half, too bloody lazy to work in it. And that's the truth. And so from then, I guess, playing with the audience, understanding who's in front of you. And I do that now. In this journey we're on, you've got to always, be in touch, finger on the pulse, and, right on the game all the time and know who's in the room. So I guess for me, the storytelling piece has been important from a digital perspective because I've had to keep our stakeholders on side and on board with us the whole way through. So I think, bringing a bit of humor in always helps, helps. It's like, did you hear about the digital transformation journey that came in on time and under budget? Neither have I. It doesn't exist. And so, keeping everybody entertained along the way does help with that buy-in and conviction.
Yeah, I think it's very true, as you say. And at the end of the day, it's a skill. It's a real skill. I think that like I find like very impressed when you do it. I don't feel I have like this skill of being as funny as you do.
Well, stick with me. You'll do okay. No, you're awesome. You do wonder. Honestly, you are out there producing so much content and driving a lot of value back to people. It is exceptional. The stuff you're putting into the ecosystem to support those is exceptional, and you should be commended.
And fun at the same time.
And fun. You enjoy what you do. You wouldn't do it otherwise.
No, I wouldn't.
Then you'd be crazy if you did something you didn't enjoy.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's like it's key at the end. Like obviously, you cannot enjoy everything you do, but you can enjoy a part of it. And I think today I enjoy a big part of it. Obviously, there is period like in life, like up and down. But right now, I feel it's a good up. So
it's a good up. Wonderful. Glad I could be here for your up.
But yeah, it's pretty good. What would be the key that you enjoy the most? You feel right now at North Collective after like 13 years?
Yeah. I think I love leading my team.
Okay, yeah.
I love, having an awesome team around me that we share a vision.
Yeah.
We share knowledge, we collaborate, we connect.
Yeah.
We share the highs and we share the lows.
Yeah.
But regardless, we always come out stronger for it at the other end. And for me, that's been the key. Now being in a position where we've got a great team, there's 8 of us in the team now, and we're driving this vision across the organization. We're seeing real change in our community.
Yeah.
I think for me, that's number one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting. And I saw like you launch a lot of not side project, but like like initiative aside of like North Collective, but that are related in a way. And I think it's you were talking about connecting the dot like before, and I think like when I follow what you do, it seems to connect the dot all the time between technology, but like not networking, but things that are interesting to meet new people. And I saw you did something like the marketing thing, or like it's a group of marketing leaders. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I just give my guess, like I saw it was like introduced by Salesforce itself or owned by Salesforce itself. And it's a bit like not hidden, but it's a bit not explicit because it's like a different name and very interesting. Like
Club CMO.
Club CMO.
Salesforce did acquire it.
Okay,
they don't have it anymore. So we run it on our own. It was started as the CMO Club. In the US. And it was chapters of sort of senior marketers. You had to be a CMO to join across the US. When Salesforce acquired it, they decided to go international. And in 2021, they opened up the Sydney chapter. And I'm the president for the Sydney chapter. And then Salesforce offboarded it. And so we run it ourselves now. And I'm in contact with the US a lot, the head office. And we very proud of this one. We're the 3rd largest chapter globally.
Wow, that's
Sydney
impressive.
is number 3. behind
world.
Silicon Valley,
Yeah.
which is a big chapter that combines San Francisco and Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And Chicago, I believe, is number 2.
Okay. Yeah.
We're number 3, and I think New York is number 4.
Okay.
So, and it's really just about connecting CMOs in a safe environment.
Yeah.
We work on Chatham House rules, which means what we talk about doesn't go outside the walls, but we can confide in each other. We can share our highs and our lows, and we can learn and connect and collaborate. So it is, a really, really good network, and we've got international connections from it as well. So yeah, that's another little side gig that I've got, and I absolutely love it.
And from your point of view, do you think why Salesforce acquired CMO Club at the first time?
I guess maybe they saw an opportunity to understand how marketers work. I think that was probably the crux of it. And, getting senior marketers into a room, providing experiences for them, but having the chance to converse, have conversations, learn, probably was the key driver to acquiring it. Maybe, and this is all post-COVID now, maybe over time, Salesforce, it happens in tech, there's hiring, big hiring in COVID, then a massive wave of redundancies. And at that same time, they offloaded it. And I guess it's a cost decision to not have it anymore. But I think they would have found good value during the tenure and having the caliber of members they had globally.
Yeah. And I guess it was also a great way to promote in a way like exact targets, like the Marketing Cloud product that they acquired as well. Like it was both.
Well, it's an interesting one because it's a non-selling environment, and Salesforce promoted that. It's not an environment for selling. So every event we always have a thought leader. And they can come from any company. But they know when they walk into that room, they're not allowed to sell.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
They've got to be the thought leader. They've got to, lead discussion, roundtable discussion, ignite curiosity, but they can't sell. Sure, conversations can happen afterwards. People might be intrigued by their company and what they can offer, and they might connect with them afterwards. But in that room, there is zero selling.
And at the end, like there is also now like the Salesforce group, community group, but it's quite different from Club CMO. I think like it's less product based. It's more like that's interesting. And so you still run it like on a monthly?
So I'm the chapter president for Sydney. We usually have 4 in-person events a year. And then there's a lot of digital engagement, virtual roundtables globally. There is a summit in the US, but very hard for us to get over to that. So we are working on doing a big event over here as well.
Wow. So this must be like a lot of interesting parts. Like
my grey hairs have grown a bit since Club CMO, but I enjoy it because I love seeing people connect and collaborate.
And I think like when I was a student, like I remember like the director of like my school that mentioned like what really matters, like that you do well your job, it's important, but what really makes a difference is what you do outside of that. And I think by doing all these initiatives that are like enjoyable at the same time, this really gives some added value basically to that's very interesting.
And that's true. Like no one should be defined by their job. What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a marketing manager. That's great. What do you do not for a living? That's what I ask. What do you do outside of for a living? Because I think that's when you really understand a person and who they are.
And you must be very busy with your is it still a baby?
He's a toddler now. He's 1. I know they move through phases. Where our life changed overnight for the better. The better. And it definitely changes the way you think, the way you view life, the way you see things. Priorities change.
That must be impressive.
It's been an enjoyable little journey for us because they call us geriatric parents.
Why?
Because we had a baby after 32. We were 39 when we had our son. So we had a geriatric pregnancy, which is a very sexy term, I think. I'll take that. And so, for us, we did it later in life because we made the decision. We wanted to see the world. We wanted to travel. We wanted to live. We wanted to sort of experience things and then look at starting that family. And so it's been a wonderful 12 months for us. We've definitely enjoyed it and grown as a family.
Wow. And what do you think can we wish you in the 12 next month?
Oh, God. Sleep. I would love sleep if possible. If I can throw some sleep my way, I will take it. Look, I think the next 12 months for us, because this is the year of AI.
Okay. Yep.
For us at North Collective, this is the year of AI. Every year on our journey, I've given it a theme. Last year was the year of ROI.
Okay.
This is the year of AI. But what I say is this, Arthur. You can't spell pain without AI. And that's the truth. So there's going to be pain, but there's going to be gains this year. And I think I'd love to be able to sit here with you at the end of the year, maybe with a beer on the table, festive beer, and say to you, look at our agents, look at them running on all of our digital channels, and look at the 20% of extra value that I've added into the contact center just by bringing these agentic agents in.
Yeah, this will be a real excellent proof of work if like you can say on paper, like, wow, we reduced by 20%. And now there's Salesforce used to say we improve employee productivity so that they can deliver a better customer experience. And I feel like this sentence summarize it all, because there's like the service center could deliver and focus on more value added task, I guess. So,
100%. And that's what it comes back to.
Yeah, it will be very interesting.
Watch this space.
But thank you so much, Robert, for this podcast. And I hope we can meet like in 12 months to see where we are both in life.
Awesome, Arthur. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Cheers.